How does the Rat King fit into the combat training meta in 2024? I tested the 3 most common ways to train melee and compared it to Scurrius to answer this very question. To make this test sort of fair, I wore the same gear setup for every method, with one exception. For fighting Scurrius, I swapped out my whip for the bone mace. I also did not use any offensive prayers or potions to boost my stats throughout this test. Let's get into it. I started off with everyone's early game favorite. The advantages of crabs are very clear. It's free, low requirements, and you can AFK for up to 10 minutes. Though it does get annoying constantly having to run out of the area to reset your aggro. And don't get me started on how annoying it is to find a spot. Moving on to the Nightmare Zone. Using the absorption method, you can AFK here for up to 20 minutes. And all you have to do is click once to reset that timer. It's so effortless, it's stupid easy to max out your combat here without ever playing the game. While the hourly XP rates are only slightly higher than crabs, it's much more AFK, like not even on the same level, and you can further optimize it to get even more experience. The main downside is that you have to pay 22k per rumble, which adds up over time. Next up is Pest Control, where players can gain experience for participating, as well as points that can be exchanged for additional experience. I played Pest Control for a whole hour and was able to gain 40k base experience, while also completing 26 games. This translated in 127k of bonus attack experience gained through points, adding the total to 167k XP per hour. Now before you close out this video to teleport to Pest Control, keep in mind that I'm max combat, meaning I have access to the veteran boat, and I've completed the easy, medium, and hard combat achievements, which means I get 8 tickets per game. At a lower combat level, say below 100, you are doomed to the intermediate boat, where games are often lost, resulting in less games per hour and a lot less points, especially if you have not completed any combat achievements. Finally, we've arrived at Scurrius. This low-level boss was added to the game to stir up the combat meta and also introduce lower-level players to PvM mechanics. The way the Rat King works is you get increased combat experience while fighting him, making this a solid training method. If you remember from the start, I'm also using the bone mace. This thing is created by using Scurrius' spine, a 1 in 33 drop, with a rune mace, adding plus 10 to your max hit on the Rat King, meaning you absolutely tear through him regardless of your combat stats. During this test, I was able to achieve over 100k XP per hour, which is pretty crazy. And again, I'm not using any stat boosting potions or prayers during this test. It could have been much higher. Scurrius' mechanics are slow, making him easy to learn for new players, while simultaneously setting them up really well for PvM in the future. So if you're currently training your melee for the sake of taking on bosses later on, you absolutely have to check out this brand new boss. I've ranked each method covered in this video by the experience earned per hour. We have crabs in the 4th position, followed by the Nightmare Zone, Scurrius in 2nd, and Pest Control in 1st. Now as I mentioned previously, these results are only accurate for anyone over 100 combat, with hard achievements unlocked. Otherwise, Pest Control is not worth it. Here's a more accurate lineup for 60 to 100 combat. Between these levels, you should focus on doing a combination of 2 methods to keep things interesting. An ideal combo would be Slayer training paired with Scurrius, but if you don't like Slayer, you could also do Scurrius combined with the Nightmare Zone or Crabs instead. This gives you a passive and active training method. I couldn't round off this video without mentioning Darking at the Nightmare Zone. By keeping your HP low with a Dwarven Rock Cake or Locator Orb, you can hit really high thanks to Daruk's stat effect. I was able to reach around 102k XP per hour without using overloads or offensive prayers. This would put Darking in the same spot as Scurrius, but I'd even put it ahead because it's much more AFK. And that's how Scurrius fits into the current meta. If you'd like to learn the mechanics of the Rat King, you can check out my quick guide next. I hope you enjoyed this video, give it a like if you did, and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Cheers!